Hello, you guys. It's Gigi. I'm back again, this time with the camera focus on the cards. All right, so let me just plug this in and get going. Jesus. I mean, there won't be any more drama than when I'm trying to do a live. Hold on one second. Okay, so Instagram as well. We're doing this. I don't think anybody's over on Instagram because I never use my Instagram. So it is what it is here. Ooh, let me see if I can pull this. No, I actually cannot. All right. Sorry, y'all. So let's see what's going on with Meghan and Markle and Harry tonight. This card actually wants to come out. As you know, most of us know they had like a 2-hour interview with Oprah, and a lot of things were kind of brought to light that I don't think we all expected. For one, as far as good news is concerned, um, Meghan and Harry actually have a little girl on the way coming this summer, Meghan said, and Harry told the sex of the baby. And then two, on the heavier side, there was quite a bit of feelings of discrimination behind the scenes against their first child, Archie. And for one, what was very unusual is that Harry was told that Archie would not be provided with security. Now, this is when they were living in England and still a part of the official royal capacity. They were told that their son would not be provided with security then while they're living and I found that extremely problematic. I'm like, why would you not provide Archie with security? I mean, what in the world? That is the strangest thing ever. So then one of the next things is that Harry, in my opinion, I don't think Harry expected that perhaps Meghan would disclose this, but apparently some close relative had a discussion with Harry as far as what the baby's skin color would be and all of this. And it's just so hilarious. People, end up again. There's like racism doesn't exist, but then it does, and it's just so weird. And you got to sit here and hear all this stuff, but racism doesn't exist. Like nobody commits any racism or anything like that. I'm not trying to speak out against the royal family or anything about racism, but when you just hear this bullshit so many times, it's just too much. You know what I mean? So you're probably wondering why I'm taking so long. I just kind of need to get my mind into this. So I'm just kind of talking to get the energy going. And let's see what's going on in another second. I just want to see where everyone has been. Well, one of the main things that I see is that I don't think that they necessarily would have come out talking about this. This was something that they discussed for a while. I think this is something more that came about, like this interview I'm talking about. This interview came more about with Meghan and Harry wanting to make sure they're okay financially. It was a really big decision. I mean, a really big one. It took a lot to come forward on this, but they just really need to make sure that they are okay. They have a lot of needs. I mean, Harry is this is another thing he said in the interview, is that he was cut off from his family funds. And he does have He basically does have what his mom left him. I just need to push this forward for the Instagram folk. I don't think anybody is up on Instagram because I never go to my Instagram anyway, but it's running. Um, yeah, so Harry had said that, I feel like they kind of immediately or almost immediately had cut off hey uniquely me. How are you? Cool, 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 cool. It's all good. It's good to see you. So yeah, they sorry, let me just get my head back around this for a second. I'm not gonna lie to you, today was not the day, and this was not really the moment for me to like read cards. I wasn't like into it. Like, sometimes you gotta get into it. I wasn't like into it. I'm in too much earth mode, earth girl mode. So I just need another second. But yeah, they had cut Harry off from a lot. They have, and I see it in the cards. He said it, but I see it. They cut him off from a lot. He has lost a lot, but he doesn't necessarily consider it a loss. In behind scenes, he is raging mad with these people. He is, it wouldn't have mattered, even though in the interview I see here in the cards, and for those of you who aren't new here as well, you guys know, like I've been reading on Meghan and Harry forever. I apologize. Hopefully you can, maybe that's a little better. But I've been reading on Meghan and Harry ever since they got married and maybe right before. So a couple of years now, I've been reading on them. They've always had a good relationship with the Queen. I never saw anything crazy. I always saw very positive stuff. I saw very powerful stuff. I saw they all three of them wanted to work together and do big things together. The problem that I've always seen is that he's always had a problem with William and Kate. William and Kate, the work ethic, the cards that William and Kate actually pull are cards of there's a lot of drama and there's just always this lack of work ethic. And the cards that Harry and Meghan always pull is just the exact opposite. A lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of planning, a lot of this. And then the Queen always pulls like the Queen always pulls the Emperor card. Like she doesn't even pull a feminine card. She pulls the Emperor all the time. And with them, uh, with Meghan and Harry and the Queen, they always kind of pull these really progressive, powerful cards. A lot of major arcana cards, a lot of aces, a lot of cards that are powerful and full of work and steam. Um, Together. So I've always seen a positive relationship between those three, but I haven't seen positive relationship with William and Harry and Kate and Meghan, um, because it always seems that Kate's energy always comes up as very idle. Although William and Kate, they seem to be nice people overall, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to dog them or anything like that. But the cards that they always pull are ones that like they don't like to be out there as much as Harry does, and the vision that Harry wanted for his patronages or patronages, as we say in English, American English rather. Um, so there was a difference there. So again, it's weird, like with the Queen, right? Getting back to this reading, right? With the Queen, I feel like she feels to a certain extent like this had to happen. How could they not speak out? But she can't say anything. She's not going to say anything. And in fact, she's going to bring more punishment. Wherever she can, she will bring more because of her, again, the way I always read her, her allegiance is always to duty first. Except now when it comes to Prince Andrew, and that'll be interesting because I want to read about that a little bit about that. So we'll see if I remember to do that. But yeah, I mean, this major thing to me, this interview really happened is because they're just really padding, you know what I mean? Like they're padding their income, you know? They're stacking their income and stuff like that because they do really need this security. They do pay a lot for security. I think security is a lot more than what one would seem, in fact. Obviously, Harry being who Harry is, and now Meghan, of course, being married to him, and there's a lot of hate toward Meghan. You know what I mean? Like you can imagine her and Harry just walking down the street anywhere. You know what I mean? Like just some random person could, I don't even want to speak about it, but I mean, it just isn't secure to travel like that. So they need really good security. I'm getting this thing too where they need to like sweep their house for bugs and stuff like that. Not bugs like surveillance kind of bugs, not like insects. So, there's just a lot there's quite a bit going on here, but this was a major decision for them. I do think that they're going to come out with something else new, some kind of new endeavor as well. I know that they were doing things like with Netflix and other stuff um, of that sort, but yeah, they're coming out with something new. I do think that the palace is going to try to reach out to them, but I'll see tomorrow. It is like very early in the morning there. Let me see. Is it like 3 a.m. there? Let me see what time it is. Yeah, I think it's 4:30 a.m. there. So, I don't wanna do a reading, I wanna wait until tomorrow to see, when the queen has really seen this, although I feel like she did watch this, she did stay up and watch this on her time, um, but she hasn't had full time to process it yet. It's almost like a queen is so, very intuitive in a lot of ways, she already knew what they were going to say. But I feel like she does not show up as a really negative person. The drama really feels like with whom the drama always is, which is, to be honest, Kate and William. And again, with this hangman card, right? This hangman card always comes with Kate. Like, there's always so much kind of idle type of time and stuff like in her department always like it's very strange. I didn't even remember that I put down this hangman card here, but this always comes with her, like, you know. And so hold on one second here. In the past, like the grandmother, Harry and Meghan, they got along really well. This is a problem because the queen does not think highly. And again, I have to put a disclaimer in here as well, because whoever knows who would come for this, this is all speculative. So it's to be considered for entertainment purposes only. It's not for anybody to run away as, oh my God, this is absolute fact, you know? So having said that, um, always in these readings, the queen has never really had this anywhere near the same type of rapport with regard to getting things done, feeling super responsible, feeling super capable to deal with the public, with Kate and William, and she has had that rapport, and she has felt like there's a sun that's rising on the horizon, and there's a sun. Okay, with Harry and Meghan, she really felt like they hit the ground running and they could actually get a lot done to bring the name of the monarchy back. But at the same time, ideal she has these ideals, but the ideology that she runs with kind of staggers it all. And this has always been the problem with her and Harry. These rules, these are this archaic kind of protocol in a way. And I mean no disrespect toward the royal family or anything like that, or to England, in saying that, I just mean that she wants them to do and to help the world. But Harry at the same time is like, there's only so much charity we can do. I mean, generation after generation, and people are so poor, and people are, this and that. Like, we are a part of the royal monarchy, like the monarchy. We are like a certain branch of government. They're defunct, let's say. I want to say defunct to a certain extent, but the queen still does make decisions, actually. But I don't think nothing outrageous. But I think her input is still, she still participates to a certain extent in the government, even though it's a smaller extent, but a much smaller extent. But Harry's attitude is like, okay, I mean, all you know what? Okay, sorry. I'm trying to I decided I wanted to translate this. This is a lot. It's a lot. Like when you're reading, you're doing reading, you're kind of channeling information, you're figuring out stuff, and you're trying to translate this in a way so people can understand it. So if you hear me like cutting myself off and editing myself, just understand that's what's going on. So basically, what Harry is looking at, and had what Harry had been looking at the royal family is that, it's kind of like some kind of figurehead circus show. You know what I mean? And because he's so no nonsense, he often shows up, even though he is an earth sign. I think he's Virgo. He always shows up a lot of times as a fire sign. Like, he's a person who is just really very straightforward, doesn't have a lot of time for this and that, although he is taming his temper a lot more. And this is helping because this is for the sake of Meghan, actually, because even though you guys wouldn't think that Meghan is sensitive, she's really sensitive behind the scenes. And so I think that he actually has tried to really not blow up too much as he used to. Not toward her, but he used to be so angry about the way people would be so disrespectful. And he just realized it doesn't help. It doesn't help her sensitivities, so he's calmed down a lot more. But basically, his problem has been, and even more so, like when he went on to marry Meghan and he felt like he was doing the right thing, and finally he was Harry the grown up who had actually carefully chosen this woman, even though we think it's fast and stuff like that. He chose somebody who was going to be great in the public eye. He chose somebody who was going to be willing and open to do charity work and be able to handle this kind of lifestyle. And as we see, it's not an easy lifestyle. None of the royal family has handled this lifestyle, and it's easy to be, just kind of a non-royal and say that. But I'm just saying, what I'm saying is that each and every one of them has had hardship and has had indiscretions, I think, let's say. I don't want to say each and every one, but there have been a lot of indiscretions, and things have just not been handled. It's just a hard lifestyle. It's a hard lifestyle, okay, as we know. But his whole thing is like, you know what? We are a part of the government. We are long established, even though we can't make law and things like that. What are we here for? What are we doing? This is a question he's been asking. This question has come up in readings quite a few times. What are we doing here if we actually can't take action and actually really do things to really help what he would say the poor? I mean, the disadvantaged, the people we're really here to help. What are we doing? This is nothing but, dog and pony show. Otherwise, I'm shaking hands, and I'm doing what's adds up to be a photo op. Like, Megan and I are really here to help people. They were very excited. He was really looking forward to that because in Harry's mind, in all of my readings, he's always wanted to continue his mother's work. This actually has been sort of ingrained in him. And this is where he knew his mother. This is where his mother left off, so to speak. She left off doing significant work. The last time some of the last times that we saw her, I think we would remember her walking through those minefields, like, really doing work to get these mines out of these fields so they would not decapitate children who were running around to play. So this is where his mother left off. So he's always been ingrained, like, this is what he does. It's always been ingrained in him to help other people. He's never needed this royal life, and that's another thing my readings have always said. Like, Harry could, like, just get a pillow and maybe not even a pillow, but a sleeping bag and a thing, and sleep upside up against a house if he had to outside. You know what I mean? Like, he is, and that's always come up in the readings, many frequently. But he is not a person who needs a lot of so-called luxury and a lot of this and a lot of that. His only problem is that if it were just him, it would be okay. But this is his child, and then there's another pregnancy, and then there was a loss of a pregnancy he was also concerned about. Um, he also feels that Meghan has kind of become cold in a certain way, not toward him, but he just notices a change, a hardening, and there's a healing that needs to take place so that she can, come again. But you know what? I think things are going to be a lot better after the birth of their new baby, um, which may very well be right in July or right around August, around her birthday. I think her birthday is like the first couple of days or the first week of August. So, yeah, I mean, this is I'm just spying out. I'm spying out uniquely me's comment here. I knew you would do a video. Girl, maybe you should be doing the cards. You're so psychic. Girl, maybe you should do the cards. Let me see what his Instagram thing is. Okay. 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 So, yeah, I mean, there's just a lot here. But I mean, Harry is just really offended. And I mean, it's really, again, I want to put a disclaimer here. This is to be considered speculative, and so it's sort of entertainment. So I just want to say that out of respect for him. But I really think that he is turned off deeply by what's going on in England. Um, and I think he really feels disrespected. But I think this also is coming from the consciousness of his childhood too, because he felt super disrespected the way they treated his mother. And they've stripped him of everything. And you know what? Harry will survive, period. Again, the only thing is that they have children now, and that makes all the difference. That's why they did this interview. You were wondering, like, why did they do this interview and why now? It's because they want to make sure they have as much income as possible. I want to say there's not necessarily a guarantee that they were paid for this, but I believe they were. I believe they are paid for this interview. And if they're not paid exactly for this interview, because wait, I believe they're paid for this interview. That is not answering my question. So anyway, this is stimulating to a certain extent. For Meghan, though, actually, Meghan feels like they'll always be all right, right? And she is, this is about her getting her voice out. I think I'll be doing, there's probably like 4 or 5 readings in this whole subject matter that I'll be doing over the next couple of days or something like that. We'll see how it pans out because I don't know. I don't know for sure. Um, but this is about her just really standing her ground. Like, Megan doesn't like things that lie in the wrong way, you know what I mean? That land wrong and stay wrong. She's just about really clearing the slate. If there's something, and it's almost like she's speaking right now. If there's something that I've done, I'll own it. But I mean, this can't do. It just operates quite cleanly, and it's like, you know what? The royal family knows that about her. That's what's really so messed up. And they tried, I think they're trying to clear up certain stuff because this claim that they did, right? This claim that they did against her being a bully and all of that. They know that there's nothing there that truly stands or is truly legit. Um, and I just really feel like there's some problems. I feel like somebody's kind of being spoken to because there were some construed, purposely, not purposely, misconstrued information to the absolute higher ups. And so now they found out that they don't really have anything really in this investigation. It's just maybe like one sentence here, one sentence there. That's not even a big deal. You know what I mean? For one thing, they talked about one of these bullying claims, her emailing someone at 5 a.m. And I'm like, I'm sorry, are we talking about text messaging somebody on their private phone after working hours at 5 a.m.? Or, what are we talking about here? She emailed somebody at 5 a.m. So what? Yeah, I've emailed people at 1:30, 1:45, 3 a.m. about stuff for work. Who cares? Anyway, they are not going to be able to make it back fully because of the situation with Archie. I think they're really upset because there's no real PR band-aid that they can do to really get this back. Would you guys do me a favor, since there are quite a few of you, if you've been watching this video for more than 5 minutes and you're digging the content, would you please hit the like button because um, putting out these readings, it's really great to be able to have the support for the channel and to be able to have it get on other people's timeline. So I do appreciate that. And thank you very much. So let me just take a look here. So yeah, I do think that there's some problems. There are definitely some problems here about this because, once Archie comes onto the scene, there's not really anything anybody could clear up. Oh, whoa, we didn't want to give him security. Like, how does anybody even come back from that? So there's some real problems. Somebody might be getting fired, or I really don't think so. I really think it in a way, it's so, again, the word archaic comes in. Like, the people who have been there and they've been a certain way and have been very comfortable for a long time. So it just really feels like it's really old, stuck energy, feeling very comfortable and certain levels of entitlement. So I mean, there's really not much effort in first having put forward that situation with the bullying investigation, which they fell flat on their faces, because a lot of people are like, okay, why are we looking into some, you know, complain about someone serving a royal. I mean, by nature, people are supposed to be basically waiting on hand and foot for someone who's a royal. You know what I mean? And I'm not condoning any kind of mistreatment or abuse because I feel very strongly about that. Um, I don't condone that. I don't condone people being disrespectful to their workers. I definitely do not condone that. But show us something. You know what I mean? Why is this coming out and 2 years later, or even almost 3 years later, because I think the issue first came out in 2018, and it's 2021. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? So you fell flat on your face there. You fell flat on your face because you're launching an investigation into some so-called bullying thing, over emails. But Prince Andrew is like sitting there, like with heavy, heavy fog and cloud of molestation, or whatever it is, so grimy. Um, and there's no word or anything upon that. So it's very weird how the queen shows up really clean, but I guess she's losing. I think she's losing quite a bit of respect. She's losing quite a bit of respect with this. It's like it's tarnished. When she steps foot in a place, she's just regal, you know what I mean? So she will always command a level of energetic respect in a certain way, but people's regard for, the royal family, especially after this, especially when you're told that a child has no security, you drop the ball on a child, and that's just what they did actually. Um, there is nothing that you can do to really come back from that. And I mean, now they're kind of scrambling a bit. I think somebody actually may have quit, to be quite honest, like now, overnight, because there really isn't much of any kind of comeback you can do after people say you have told the parents, you have told the prince, like the sixth in line or fifth in line to the throne, that his own child will not be entitled to security. I mean, I just really feel like even British taxpayers would not complain about Archie needing to have security. I mean, come on, like, the nanny's just supposed to roll down the street in London, like, just her and a can of mace? I mean, what? Get the F out of here, man. This is so ridiculous. So somebody is really stressed out. I think somebody in that whole machine is really stressed out. And I think the queen does not like to have her hands involved in all this. And she's just allowed this department or whatever it is to um, run itself for entirely too long. Because it's so weird. It's like this machine is kind of going on by itself, but then she's over here, she's showing up, but she's not involved. There are really things that she really isn't involved in. There really are things that run independently of her, and I think a lot of this situation with Harry and Meghan is one of them, to a certain degree. But now there's been so much going on, and she's allowed so much license that this, of course, washes up on her own shores. So now she's responsible for all of this. So, I mean, regardless of whatever, it feels like to me that she and Harry will always speak, even though they're a little bit at odds right now. Um, and at this point, I think she's to a certain extent against no, something's not allowing me to say that. So what is it then? She's against something. Well, no, okay. I told you in another reading. I don't know what reading I did. It was a while ago. I haven't read on these guys in I have maybe 6 months. I think. I don't think I've done anything less than 6 months ago. If I did, I forgot. But it's in there on my channel, on this channel. But there's something, silently, she's rooting for them. I remember that, and I see that again. Publicly within the family, she is all about duty, and she is not allowing anyone to know that she condones this, even though her own son, Charles, his wife, and the other two, William and Kate, they all know that she does condone this, because I think a queen would typically be, and you know what, even her, like, is her sister even still alive? But I just get like even the sibling and the other, maybe it's her other son, like Fergie's daughter or whatever. But even they all know that the queen could go harder on this. She's always, yeah, she's always been close with Harry. But Harry also at the same time, he challenges the system where she is the system. She has always worked to become the system. And so this is where they part ways. It's almost like she becomes robotic. Oh, rule number 2.0 says if you leave, we cut all of the funding now. So we cut it right now. Um, I think it's so weird because remotely, see, he understands this. Like, I guess in any other relationship, this would feel like a betrayal, but because she's so always so connected to duty, she would not. He doesn't take this as personally as he could. It doesn't mean that he doesn't get upset, but he doesn't get upset with her personally. Personally. So let me take a look at the rest of this. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Yeah, there's a lot going on. I feel like Megan's mother is like, don't say too much. Don't say too much. Don't go, who cares? You know what I mean? Who cares? Don't go too far. Yes, they were screwed up. And yes, to be honest, the cards are saying here, like Megan's shows up a lot cleaner than a lot of them, like just has more class and everything. And I'm not trying to be like biased or anything like that. I've just read for these people for, over 2 years now, and I know who pulls really high cards and cards of integrity, and then those who don't. But with regard to her mother, what her mother's seen, what her daughter, the type of energy her daughter pulls as well, like energetically, she is literally like above, like in purpose, in standard. And I mean, the queen meets them. The queen meets her, because even Harry, like on a certain extent, like he's still growing. Um, she's more mature in a certain way, like as far as her self-certainty is concerned, even though she's also very sensitive energetically, and so she can get knocked off her feet energetically, but she's been knocked around so horribly so long. She's going through a period of hurt and harm, and then a period of real anger, and that period is still kind of now. You can see even though she had a straight face, there were just times where you could see flashes of her fury, just little ones. And I think anyone can understand if you tell them their child can't have security, and also their sorry, hold on. Just having a little bit of technical difficulty, but what else is new? So, sorry, give me 1 second here. So if you say that her child can't have security, and you say that her child also cannot be a prince, that was another thing. They told Harry. It seemed that Meghan kind of played her position and stayed kind of off to the side. And then, Harry would come in and inform her of what is going on. And I mean, he would have a lot of fights. This card moved over. He would have a lot of fights. She doesn't even know half the stuff that's been said. And the stuff that she's been told was effed up. But I mean, she doesn't even know actually. I'm just filling in this card, like what they were saying. Like some of the comments about her have been really degrading comments. I would feel like that straight out of Megan straight out of Compton comments also was something that one of his family members said in a different way. Um and at the same time it's weird because again what the cards are showing is that at the end of the day, like, so a lot of them, like, they don't have, it's weird, like they don't have this level of class and sophistication. They show up in the public eye like this, but to know them after a while would be to know certain levels of, it's not a word, but in sophistication. Um, its lack of sophistication would come forth in little cracks and stuff like that in areas where she would not. But yeah, I mean, they've really said some very nasty things about her. And I mean, I feel like to him, they also said, you're just gonna end up dying out there on your own, out in the street. And, I don't know why you're following this hussy, or, like something like that. But she's not, Megan always shows up really clean. If anything, Megan shows up as it's fiery. She's not, but not ever horribly, nothing. She doesn't come Megan never comes up in swords. Like, she never comes up as bitch mode, you know what I mean? She always comes up in as the fire sign, which is the Leo, which is the Queen of Wands. She always comes up right in what her sign is. And, yeah, or she'll pull even higher cards, but her cards are always clean. So there's this. At the same time, she believes in law. She believes in, I would say, law and order, but you know what? Trump has just like made that law and order thing so bad. So I'll have to figure out something else. Um, she believes in integrity and accountability. So there is this sort of, in a way, similar line of thought and level of traditions that run through her as well. Um, so she will come forward. She will check you. She will check you legally. She will fight you. It'll be clean though. What else is in here? There's so much going on. I feel like there'll be some discussions with William. I feel like William always shows up as not like the greatest communicator when it comes to certain conversations. And I feel like he is, I hate to say it. Like, I feel like there's been some disloyalty there. Like, I'm trying to say this in a good way because the time I did the reading for Princess Diana, I'm thinking about her. Like, she doesn't want me to really be talking about her children horribly. So I'm trying to, obviously. So I'm trying to just, it feels like William has to come forward and kind of apologize for something. But it feels like, there's a struggle for some authenticity in doing so, and it's not done properly. And there's still some blaming there with Harry and stuff like that. And I guess, William could have just had his back a little bit more. I think that's what hurts a lot. This really hurts Ari, but I think even more so than it necessarily hurting him, it just angers him so much. And I think the thing that he's offended about as well is because he was raised in this institution, um, this institution that represents the country, that represents all of this history, and there's just all of this allegiance and all. I'm his stream of thought, not my own. There's this allegiance, and we're the greatest, and we've had so many accomplishments, and he's just like, what the freak is this? Like, you can't even, you know, operate properly. And whereas William and Harry have handled their distress growing up in two different ways. William is more like the less you do, the safer man. You know what I mean? Don't need to be out there. I think that's he kind of reacts to that because of the way what his mother had gone through. So the less that we do, the better. Let's just keep it simple. And Harry, is very different. He's like, let's get out there. Like my mother was out there. She was helping people. This was her thing. She died trying to do this. You know what I mean? Like that wasn't a way that she officially passed, but I'm just saying like this was her thing. That is his thing. And I want to continue her legacy. This is what we do as royals. We really try to make things better. We get out in the field. We don't sit around and have tea and go visit the little places in London and just shake hands and move around a couple of papers on a desk and then go. Excuse me. Wow. Pardon me. Ugh. And so those two have kind of, gone from there. So I think things have gotten really, they soured for those of you who are new to my channel, like the progression over the last couple of years has broken off because of that general foundation of the differences in the way that they handle their relationships in the world while under these titles, these royal titles. So as Harry went on and he was more of the outsider, he was the one who was more of the rebel of the family. You're welcome to go see any of the old videos I had to understand like the history of Harry. But he always had a certain place in the family. Is either too crazy, but the one who made sense at the same time, but was crazy enough to, he's the one who flips the table, you know, something like that to a certain extent, because the table needs to be flipped. Like Francis Underwood would say, if you can't change one thing or you can't get to the table, flip it over or whatever. From, ooh, sorry, from House of Cards. Ugh, we'll give that another try. One more. I'm sure it'll fall over again. So I think this is. Hold on. All right, so I ended that video, but yeah, I mean he's always been known. He's always been known to, be the rebel in the family, but they've always dealt with his rebelliousness, which was there was a lot of truth behind it, but they always dealt with his rebelliousness as being like, oh, he's just overworked. Oh, he's just crazy. Oh, he's just emotionally having an emotional something something, this type of thing, like gaslighting him a little bit. And so he kind of always sort of grew up with that level of insecurity in a way, even though he's got a lot of fire, and he's not afraid to speak his truth, obviously, because this is the way he's always been. But I feel like that interview, he was his most reserved, as far as what I know from him in the cards. He was most reserved in this interview. And so now with him and William, getting back to that, um, It just feels like William's going to reach out to him, but it feels like William will also kind of drop some kind of comments of a little bit of blame, and it'll just like lead to some more disagreements. So I just really feel like, their relationship is going to take some time. And I really do think that it's really kind of more so it's definitely more so on William's side. Meanwhile, I don't really think he and Kate, they're still kind of at odds. I thought I saw somewhere on my timeline they were trying to have another baby or something like that. And that is the case, it really has to do with, again, preserving, like, I'm gonna tell you, like, their work ethic is nothing compared to Harry and Meghan's, like, all the time in the cards. All the time with Kate, this hangman card won't leave her. All the time with her. Go back. You don't believe me? Go back to every single reading. All the time with her. Either the hangman or I forget what the other card is that comes up for her. That's also quite idle. Um, let me just take a look at this. So I think if Harry looks at ways like he's just at a standstill. He was like, he wants to say something. I mean, Megan is also encouraging him as well, to say something. Let's figure out a way we could have some communication or whatever. But I think they've even prayed extensively about it. At least her more so than him, actually. I don't think he prays. I don't think he's much of a prayer. Yeah, I don't think he's. But in any case, yeah, and the way he looks at the family, like, well, where would I even begin? Because it feels like because of their belief system, their outlook, their outlook on things. He's like, where would I go? This conversation will just go around in circles and circles and circles and circles. So where would I begin? It's almost like a stalemate. It's something very stale. But I mean, I do think that overall, he feels that he's made the right decision. He's in a happy relationship. It's just these problems kind of around the relationship. Um, he really wants to believe that this interview would be like the final close of a chapter, but I do think that they still have some more difficult energies and situations, to sort of navigate. Meanwhile, they do have victories here and there. Um, dotted between this, but I do think that they kind of navigate through some more, emotionally difficult times in the lingering of this situation. So let's see what else goes on after, like, what goes on in the media or whatever, like what with Harry and Meghan, what goes on. I'm not sure if they care, but it feels like, whoa. It feels like, okay, like the media machine is kind of thrown off just a tad bit. There will be some negative reports, of course, but these people who do these negative reporting, are not going to be able to get away with what they say, meaning they'll lose credibility. Because again, the thing, and I want to say the winning factor is just Archie not having security. How do you go back from that? And it just feels like there'll be this argument about, that everything would have been fine had they just stayed. And, this is what it is. This is that life. They should have been used to it. And meanwhile, Megan said she wasn't even prepped at all, wasn't even trained at all. Like, she didn't even know the British national anthem, and she had to, the night before some event, Google it. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I'll be on camera, I'll be in the public eye. I don't want to be disrespectful or anything like that. Let me look it up." So she actually Googled it, so ugh. But so that argument won't really fly because Archie trumps all. Ew, what I have to use that word, but Archie just, there's no way to really get around somebody's child and not having you know, provided. And I'm thinking, most people are looking at it like, okay, look, okay, so we get it. We get it. The British people do not have to pay for the security. We get that. You know what I mean? Fair enough. Um, for Harry and Meghan who have decided they want to step back, right? But not only does some of the media who try to try to push this narrative to make it seem like this is right. I mean, the situation with Archie, the whole interview is really centered around not being supported around Archie and not being supported around the marriage secondary. Um, Pulling Harry's security while being a queen with several $1 million and a Prince Charles with several $1 million to even lend, and even the ability to just say, okay, look, it's protocol. You're not allowed to take, you're not allowed to, you're not allowed to have security. So we have to remove your security. But this is what we'll do. We'll charge you and you can pay it at a later date. I will pay it for you. So that means to me, it's like the Queen could have done that with her own money. Prince Charles could have done that with his own money. I mean, he could pay for Meghan's wardrobe. Like, Meghan doesn't need you to buy her damn clothes, you know? Meghan does not need you to buy her clothes. Meghan's been clothing herself several years before she met you. She doesn't need you to buy her clothes. So, I think that's what really, really makes them look bad. So, I mean, there's a lot that they have to deal with. There's a lot that they have to deal with coming in on social media. I don't know who this Knight of Swords is, but I do feel like there's a lot. This may be, Piers Morgan is like really, really super weird when it comes to Meghan and Harry. Like, he is just inexplicably very, very, very psycho. And I just really feel like this is him extremely emotionally unstable and trying to push these arguments that really don't fly in an argument that can't win. And I think he loses finally some credibility, even though, I mean, he manages, even if he's not talking to Meghan, he just manages to do that kind of on his own typically. So yeah, I do think that there's some balance to there's some shielding, given that a lot of the crux of this matter was really more so about Archie once Archie came and these issues. Um, this is something that kind of abates the typical social sort of aggression toward Meghan that would normally be that, you know, and to hear, I think for people to hear that they actually just cut the money off for Harry. I mean, it's must have been terrible for him to go through. You know what I mean? There have been people who have been living through the year of 2020 suddenly who have never had to struggle a moment in their life. They've lost their job because of COVID-19. It's the first time they've ever had to deal with any kind of hardship, any kind of rug being pulled out from under their feet. It's the same with him. You know what I mean? And the reason why I say that is, sure, of course, he has the ability to make money a lot faster than anyone else would, and amass a lot more quicker than the average person. But to take away his security so fast and then announce, as Megan was kind of saying, like, don't take away the security while the whole world knows all of this, and it's you're announcing all of this, you're announcing his vulnerability to a certain extent. Now they seem to take responsibility for saying, look, we're stepping back, but they didn't expect, that. And I don't think if you want to call yourself some kind of family member, I don't think you would think that that's fair, knowing that you have the money and also the power to kind of extend the security, but don't let the people pay for it. Just charge those two, Harry and Meghan. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot that they won't be able to win in the media, the royal family. This really looks bad. Quite a few journalists will lose, I don't want to call them journalists, but reporters, they'll lose some credibility over this because they'll be fighting for it. And it's actually really a hell of a lost cause here. Um, I do think, I don't see Meghan's father rearing his head, though. No way he could be showing up as the emperor. Hell no. Give me 1 second here. I'm just like processing some stuff here. I'm trying to put together some stuff here. Let me just see what this is. Yeah, I just really feel like this is some form of there's a bit of sort of divine justice in this. I think finally Meghan is able to get out what she needed to because her character was so horribly assassinated. Like her friends are really upset about this to one particular friend. I think it's the girl who is her best friend. This also may represent her and Serena actually. I think as well. Yeah, and she makes Serena, it's so funny, just a sidebar, there's something that Meghan has done, there's something that the way that this happened that also gives Serena another second win to wanna continue on in tennis. There's something there about this situation that kind of lent to that a little bit. Though Serena was going to continue on in tennis, but there's something about this that gives her some extra fire. Oof, this card sucks. This family, it's weird because it's like with the devil card, they're dealing with some heavy issues, will be dealing with some heavy issues, but it's like they've almost always been there too in that devil energy, kind of. I mean, and that the energy and the energetics surrounding it, not that they are the devil, but I'm just saying. Again, this is something, I think Harry will face, unfortunately, a lot more isolation as well. I think, sometimes, obviously, he misses the normality of having his family there as anyone would. He misses the institution, but he's very much so himself. He's very much so would not change anything, though. Um, he and Meghan are entering into more of a focused relationship and, with their family, and I think he tells her that too, actually, he tells her that. So from now on, really, Harry rides on his own. He really rides on his own. I think he's not turning back. He's not trying to go, um he's not going back as far as, his family. He also did mention as well, which he got that in, like, his father not returning his calls. I mean, that's hard to come back from, you know what I mean? Because it's kind of like, how how I think certain people would sit there and think like, Prince Charles, no, we don't know you, but you've lived a lot of your life in the public, right? How dare you not take your son's phone calls after all that has gone on? You know what I mean? And I get it. You know what? I did a reading on Prince Charles, and he has been through a lot. But at the same time, um, so have his children, even more so, you know? And so there's just that. Like, after all that Harry has kind of been through. And again, I don't know them. I don't really know. I don't walk in their shoes or anything like that, but Harry has been through a lot, and you don't want to speak to him. You tell him to put his complaints in writing. I guess it's a good thing he did, because it's better than, my word against your word. At least it's in writing. So, you know, but still, I don't think it's a good look for it's not a good look for Camilla, who already doesn't look too active anyway, doesn't look like a real productive member of the family anyway, not popular. I don't mean anything by it, but I just know all the time the way these people show up in the cards and where they insist on showing up in the cards repeatedly, unproductive, non-maternal, not a boss, ill health, I don't know. And this is like ill emotional health. I don't necessarily see anything about I haven't necessarily asked, but I don't see anything about Philip. Philip. Yeah. No, they're not talking about him. This is interesting. Okay, yeah, so right now I'm just kind of BSing. Thank you guys so much. If you would be kind enough, you've been watching this video for more than 5 minutes and you're kind of digging the content, please feel free to hit the like button. It super helps the channel here. It helps it get this onto other people's timeline as well. It helps YouTube to know that this is the content that you want to see. And so YouTube will bring it on your timeline. If you don't hit the like button, it typically won't. Yeah, totally. Meghan did go through it. I felt a little more I felt a little more sorry for Harry at times at this point in time, because Meghan is in her own country, she's back where she grew up in the area. Her mother's close. Um Although I really feel like, and always have felt like, her mother is kind of her mother's a loving mother, but her mother is very much so a person who is like into her own world. Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna begin to wrap this up, but you guys are definitely welcome to check back on the channel, because I'll be in the next couple of days. I know there's like 4 or 5 more readings out this, because I normally do quite a bit of readings on Harry and Meghan, but I haven't done any real readings in a long time on this channel. If you want to see some more of my readings, you can check my other channel as well. Those are more readings for the collective viewers, other than celebrity readings. But that's Invite the Light also. Tarot readings. There's another channel somebody came at after I created mine, calling themselves Invite the Light as well, but that's something different. So I'm the one with the picture of reading the tarot cards. So if you want personal readings, you want readings where you can see what's going on more so in your life, you can check my other channel. If you want to order a personal reading, you want something that's focused on you, you are welcome to do that as well by clicking on any of my videos and just going into the description box. So let's see what's going on here. Glad somebody really wants to continue this situation of talking about their celebrity. So Harry's mission is to like kind of get to the truth. And again, this comes up in his readings a lot. There's this innocence about him to a certain extent. This is I feel bad for him, because I feel like he will come through this. But I mean, behind the scenes, I just really feel like this interview for him personally wasn't really helpful. I really feel bad for him. Even though even though, this has all the screams of, do you wanna be, sorry, I had to adjust my crystal. This has all the screaming of, do you wanna be right or do you wanna be in a relationship? You know how they say that to you? Like, you wanna be right or you wanna be, in a relationship? And that has all the screams of it. Like, he's right, but he doesn't have his family. But at the same time, he knows at the same time that even if to continue on in the template that they want him to continue on, the cost is eating toxicity every single day. And he knows, but he will make it through the night. He needs to know that. Harry needs to know that he will make it through the night. There are going to be some difficult times, like maybe for the next year and a half, this will be a very difficult decision for him. But he will get through this. He will come into the light. He will regain titles. His projects are going to take off. He'll regain his public popularity, let's say. And the universe is coming down to say, you were always popular. You've earned your right to be here. You've earned your right through lifetimes. Megan as well, but this is specifically for him. Um, You've earned your right through lifetimes to be here. You have the right to know that you are taken seriously because he has this history of not being taken seriously by the family. He has this history of them, oh, Harry, he's at it again, and Harry from a young child, and my readings always said this, from a young child was always up there telling the truth. Like, why, grandma, why are we doing this, grandmother? Whatever. Feel free to see any of the old videos to really know how Harry was kind of calling people out in his childhood. Um, yeah, so I mean, that's basically what's going on. I mean, these are the energies he'll move through. But they're saying, he's going to gain everything back, eventually. He just needs to keep putting one foot forward in front of the other, but to really realize that, unfortunately, the realization is that this is real talk. People aren't in a place of integrity. He is trying to get to the truth, but he doesn't real seem to realize, like, if people are in the dark, they're in the dark for a reason. Like, you feel like you can turn on a light, but actually they've removed the light because that is where a lot of them want to be. This is why the moon comes up in reverse. Um, but there will be opportunities for him to move forward. I always think that in the readings as well, that he is not a person who really is crazy about LA, let alone the United States. I think it's a little bit better now that Biden has been elected um, president. But the way that the leadership was run during the pandemic, no, don't worry about wearing masks. Oh, just no mask mandate. Everybody get back to work. Everybody get back to school. Everybody get back into churches. Like, he did not appreciate, let's say, and I don't mean in the typical way that we say in English, like, I don't appreciate this. He just didn't appreciate being behind the borders of a country that was running itself in that way. He didn't appreciate that. So I really feel like eventually and secretly he'll be manifesting. I feel like I hear Australia, but Africa as well. He tends to really like, and then there's the Pacific as well. There's something out in the Pacific. I also see Japan. That's crazy. I see Japan, Russia. What the hell's going on here? Like all these countries and something with an M. Some country with an M. I mean, I don't think it's Mongolia, but something with an M. So Eventually, I think he'll be wanting to do something, let me just see what else. Yeah. It's not fully clear yet. There's a lot. I think you know what? He's bummed out because he did a lot of work under the royal family, and a lot of his patronages have been taken away, so he can't even work with the people. It seems to me through the cards, and I remember that also coming up in my previous readings. In the last I don't know year, 2020. Um, he's lost his patronages. So the projects that are dear to him, the projects that are in his heart and stuff like that, um, he now can't work with these same people. So he's put in, let's say, in some cases, 11 years, I see, but 8, 11, 7, you know, and in some cases, maybe it's several months of work, but it's been taken away. He's really pissed about that. Pardon me. So he feels like, look, I made my decision and that's fine, but you don't have to take away the projects that I'm working on and actually helping people. And he's also just really pissed because again, he just feels like, the family, this is his like real talk, like with these cars. I can't even like soften it anymore. Like a family be bullshitting in a lot of ways. Like they just wanna this is his attitude. And he's like, now not only have you remove me from the project, but you've basically killed the project by removing me from it because I know all you're going to do is just basically swing by and take a couple of pictures, maybe cut a ribbon, and then and that's basically it. And I'm not trying to diss the family and stuff like that. I'm just talking about what I see in the cards. Um, so again, this is card readings are speculative, so it is what it is. But I think this video is getting a tad bit long. Hi there, Missy Thompson. Hello, how are you? You going? Oh my god. Who's copying me? I think you already left. Uniquely me. I want to know who's out there copying me. How could you leave me like that? Oh my god. Anyway, what else is new? I've had people from larger channels come and copy off of my other channel, my editing style, a whole bunch of stuff. Things I say. Oh. Anyway, so so there are major problems with that. So I mean, he is really pissed about this. And there are one or two things that he is annoyed about being stripped about his from his army, from his military duty as well. And I mean, he gets it. He gets it. He's not going to keep the ranks, but he's like, look, hell, I earned this. Like, you can't just strip me of stuff I've earned. I actually served in a war. You kind of can't strip me. So there's certain things that he's like salty about. And now it's kind of weird though. Mm. I think there's some new kind of news over the next couple of days that was earlier in the reading it was like he respects his grandmother, but I do think this is driving a big wedge between them, and I do think he gives her a mouthful about that. This would not be the first time he gives her a mouthful. Um somewhere I feel like I hear her saying, "You got that right." He will prevail. Megan's gonna be a little bit more in the background now, as well. I think it was just her thing to actually get forward and just say exactly what she needed in order to just clear her name, such as she made Kate cry, whereas actually, apparently, according to her, she was the one who was made to have cried by Kate. There was some kind of thing, but she did say that Kate apologized and actually sent her flowers. I don't know if you guys saw this interview, but she began there to say, without throwing Kate under the bus. Can we just say that this isn't true? And she wasn't shown the support. So then that's where she said, as I remember, where she felt the character, like her character was beginning to be, I don't think she used the word assassination. I think it's a strong word, but this is where, the accuracy of her character began to like be broken down. So, I kind of forgot why I was talking about that. Yeah, so she'll be silent. I think that's what I was saying. She'll be silent. I think she said what she needed to say. It's very funny because I was like, she never talked about her father, which is what I really want to kind of hear about. But okay, her father also sitting at the TV wondering why she didn't talk about him. He was ready for that. He was looking for that. He was searching. He's watching the interview more than once to look. But this time around, it really feels like there was so much bombs being dropped in that interview that the father actually looks like you would have to be seedy in order to bring him on to talk about Megan right now. So it feels like she's cleared herself. Harry is gonna have a little bit of a hard time too. Megan already has been having a hard time, but this is a little bit of a rough time for Harry. This is very karmic for the both of them. This whole thing since they've been married, this has been very much so about clearing up certain karmas. The universe. Feels very, as they would say, Saturnian. This is Saturn coming through. I mean, Saturn has just been whipping the out of them both. Saturn comes in anytime you feel like you are getting yourself like a spiritual beatdown. Is what a wise man on YouTube calls it, a spiritual beatdown. And anytime you feel like you are getting your just your ass kicked all over the place and the just won't let up, it's usually because it is some form of karmic energy you have to move through. It has to do with some form of a lesson. Now, I don't know what you've been through, so I don't diminish anything seriously having happened to you and trying to pass that off as a lesson. So please don't take that that way. If you like something extremely grave happened, I'm not saying, oh, it was a lesson. No. Um, but the way that these lessons are extremely rough and they're extremely been compacted in a short amount of time, like the span of 3 years now. They've had everything come at them. They've had tsunamis of public, public opinion, negative public opinion, and the father, and the public embarrassment of the father and a sister, and all of these things, and then being disrespectful, father being disrespectful to Harry in public. And I mean, I've just been through so much. um and it's all been very rough, but it's all been so that they can rise to the next level of actually serving people. It's all been a part of, yeah, a real karmic work. It has not been pretty, and I don't think they would appreciate hearing me say that, because I wouldn't appreciate somebody saying that. This is all a lesson, Harry and Meghan. But the thing is that at the end of all of this, they come out way stronger. And at the end of this, um, Meghan comes out um, with more shielding around her empathetic heart, wearing her heart on the sleeve. And Harry comes out of this a lot more grounded, a lot more certain, a lot more independent. And it's not that he wasn't independent to begin with, but his energies are not just fire, but they're earth, they're grounded, and he's really moving into a place where he's acting out. I mean, he really, really wants to help. I think he'll be doing something in Africa and Australia for sure, and possibly something in France. But in any case, they're doing okay. They are going to go through some more rough times. This year, I hate to say it, will be it's still a lot more of the noise and the funk and the negative energies coming out. I would really suggest that both Meghan and Harry do believe that they meditate, but to continue to meditate and actually set your intention for the day, set your intention for the year. I feel like I hear Meghan going, "Yep, like I already do that." Set your intention that anything that isn't serving your greatest and highest well-being globally is actually removed, because there's just so much mayhem. And I would say to Megan, you do a lot because she does. She really does a lot. Megan shows up like the way she runs her daily routine in the cards. She shows up as amazing. You know what I mean? Shows up really as amazing. And Harry always shows up as fire. Harry always shows up as the King of Wands or the King of Pentacles, but typically the King of Wands, even though he's a pentacle, um, based on his sign. So Megan has learned a lot and she's really activated a lot of her intuition and she's using higher levels of her intuition and calm and ooh, um but what I would say to her is there are still some things inside that actually probably need to be looked at, in order to remove what's going on the outside. So, really looking on the inside to change the outside. And if all of this drama is still going on the outside, I typically say, and if Megan's watching, this will be a trigger. But I know from dealing with many, many clients and also my own self that somewhere in there, sometimes, and with these cards together, there is this pull energetically within you to bring forth things so that unresolved things from the past that you may still be angry about, you kind of magnetize them because you get to sort of act out these this unresolved energy, let's say. So hopefully you get that. That will happen by obviously really paying attention to your reaction to things. One of the hints every once in a while, you'll get a hint of whether or not this is a gremlin in your life. If somebody does something wrong to you, and as soon as you find out, like for a quick second, you get a sense of grat um not gratitude, but you get a sense of like what do you call it? A sense of you feel satisfied, satiated in a way, just real quickly. Well, lets you know that some of the drama gets magnetized because there's something unresolved in your energy. Typically in anger, there's something unresolved in there. So because of that, you end up magnetizing situations where people do things to you that are actually wrong. Um, but this is something that you really have to break down internally to see exactly where you participate in the drama, in magnetizing the drama to a certain extent. And I'm not saying that you created all this and all of that, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, to change it out, get ruthless about changing it out internally is definitely going to make it go away um, externally. And if it isn't going away, there's still more work to do. And really always triple checking to see where you are in the drama, where you need the drama, where you want the drama. That's the real work. That's like the real work if you want the real answers. And a lot of people don't want the real answers, but to just really see like where in this does this satisfy me? Is this have I asked for controversy so that I could use it to overcome it? You know, and you'll know for whatever reason. And I'm not saying that they've asked for the controversy, but I'm just saying on some level, like this kind of stuff, this kind of stuff here, the way to get rid of it is to start working internally. Keep away all the drama, remove all the people that don't serve my highest peace and harmony. I'm accepted, I'm loved universally. All of these real things that begin to actually set the personal laws of what you attract in your life, um, consciously and unconsciously. All right. So, yeah, I mean, the father, her father is looking. And I think after all has been said and done, I feel like there's a little bit of regret on his behalf. Maybe there still is some regret. Um, I mean, he really was on a straight power trip, money and power trip to begin with, but now, I mean, he's like out of money again, and it's just like, okay, now he doesn't have his daughter. Now he's got to look at his daughter through a TV screen. And I don't know him. I don't mean to sound so cruel, you know, saying that, but that's the way it comes up in the cards. Like, I mean, he just really played himself. And I'm sorry, I am a little personally upset with him because I've read the cards. Like I said, I've told you guys that many times. I've read the cards on these people for like 2 years. And the terrible energies that he really put his daughter, the despair that was in the cards. And again, these readings are on video, so you can always refer to them, not making it up. Um, the despair that he truly caused this woman behind the scenes and also when she was pregnant is something I just didn't appreciate seeing those levels of abuse. So I kind of just don't feel sorry for him. I think some things are going to come out that some people were lying about the bullying charges or something here. I don't know. Why the hell am I reading so long? I think it's you guys. Every time I get on a live, I'm like going, oh, so long. Hello, Alita. My thing is this, you guys, I have to get off this live because then nobody clicks on a video and people look at a video and go, "Oh, I don't want to watch 1 hour and 30 minutes of a reading on Harry and Meghan." And then the video gets no views. So all right, so let me wrap this up. Let me see what time it is. Probably midnight. It's 1 a.m. I'm a whole hour behind. How the hell? Okay. Let me begin to wrap this up. There are some things that are going to come. Yeah, I got all those cards. All right, there are some things that are going to come to light about some kind of lies, some kind of whatever out in the public. Hold on. I'm sorry. This is what happened tonight to a certain extent, but it's going to be some other stuff is going to come out. Something's coming out. But they did, I think they managed to change the tide just a tad bit as far as, just people sort of understanding them a little bit. I do personally feel energetically there's still a fringe and some waves of disdain for them. But I mean, those people, you could walk a straight line for the next 15 years and they still would be haters. So, there's just a lot of hate as well. But a lot of it has subsided because of, again, the way that Harry was treated is indisputable. They're not going to be able to dispute it. And Prince Charles said, put that in writing, told Harry to put everything how he felt into writing and then send it to the palace. And that he, in fact, had been speaking with his grandmother in a series of conversations over a 2-year period about his grievances, let's say, with Meghan and himself and his child eventually, and to no real avail. So everything has been turned on them, including the news saying that Harry and Meghan didn't want Archie to carry a royal title. In fact, Meghan said it's not true. That's not even their decision to make. They didn't, where Megan had a problem is it's just like, why would you make a decision over my child? And it's not, over his birthright. I mean, that he has a right to his birthright, and other grandchildren are princes and or princesses at the time, because they didn't know when the decision was made. Apparently, Megan was just pregnant and hadn't had the baby. So it feels like, with those things being exposed, that they actually do come out being a little cleaner. They still are the subject of discrimination and hatred, to be quite honest. And it feels like England, London, like, that's a shame. And I do want to shout out the BBC, you bunch of bitches. I've had such great high regard for you for several, like for decades now, for some decades. And I just want to shout out here that months ago, when Megan had actually said that she had lost a child, you actually wrote an article and put a picture of her smiling with the title of the article saying Megan discusses the loss of her child, with a picture of her smiling. And now anyone in media knows that you usually always choose a picture that matches the emotion of the article. You don't choose, if someone lost a child, you don't choose a picture of them smiling. My problem with the BBC is that it was brought to their attention a few times and they refused to take that picture down, even though they had plenty of pictures of Megan, and they could have easily have replaced that. And that picture's still sitting up to this day. I made sure I checked. And with this justice card coming out, BBC, y'all gonna get troubles. Karma is This card represents not only justice, but it also represents retribution. And that's independent of Meghan. So I mean, Harry's going through a lot. Harry is already. I think he's already like on the phone with what time is it now? I said 1. It's like 6 a.m. there. So he's already kind of on the phone with a couple of people, maybe like a cousin or something like that as well. Getting the gist. He sent shockwaves, and he's like good with that. I mean, because where he comes from, again, I keep saying clean, it's from a clean place. It really is just really protecting his family. And it's the way that he's protecting his family is, number one, to make sure that the narrative about them is correct and clean, so that for one thing, they're safe and they're not going around and being the objects of disdain and possible attacks. So he really had to say what he had to say. Number 2, the reason is because they've been silenced actually, for so long, and they've been pursued for to be answers of things, and I think they actually experience rude behavior, just walking around and being in public, and maybe 1 or 2, things of aggressive behavior, like verbally aggressive, and, yeah, I mean, and he just really wants to clear the space so that they can finally enjoy, their relationship as well. Although they really do with these cards, they really do enjoy their relationship. Okay, look, I said I was gonna end this. Thank you all so much. We're gonna end on this. The Ace of Swords and the Star. There really isn't any higher thing, along with the Chariot, the Strength card. Like, look, these two, they're always going to do well. They are divinely orchestrated. Like, you cannot F with them. You can't F with them. All of this stuff is just karmic stuff, but this is really where um Harry and Meghan will be. their celebrity, their heart, the truth. As time goes by, people really see the truth of them. For the Meghan haters, let me just do this. I'll indulge you. No, I said all the time, her cards come up as really good. So, what is Meghan guilty of? Like her negative aspects? The fuck? I'm just gonna do this. So sometimes she can be like anybody else, like a little stubborn. And her father really feels like, oh, she should have given me more of a chance. She should have contacted me, or whatever. But she is absolutely unapologetic about that. And she is not trying to come forth and explain that. And I think that's where her stubbornness gets, you know what I mean? Like, as far as just coming out and even explaining that, like, look, this was done to me, this was done, I feel really disrespected. I don't know if she was silenced because of legal issues or whatever. No, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it necessarily. I think I know where she extra takes this personally is that you came from my child. I don't care what you say. You put so much stress on me while I was pregnant. You came for my child. That's and so I don't explain anything to you. I don't explain anything to anybody. She can be really, really strong, but also overall and in general, she's a very nice person. But don't play with her. Wow. Okay, guys. So that is it. Yeah, things are coming. They're going to eventually come around for Harry and Meghan, like with the star and with the Ace of Swords. Pardon my unmanicured hands here. But with the star and the Ace of Swords, this is something that's divinely orchestrated for them to do very well over time. So over in the next 3 years, they will be doing something again. I think over in some foreign country. A lot of their plans have been, with the virus and everything, a lot of their plans have been, derailed a bit. But other than that, I think if there were no real virus, they would have been like over in Africa, actually doing a lot more work. 'Cause Harry wants to do a hell of a lot more work. So I think we'll be hearing about that over the next year or so. But there definitely is some large communication. Look forward to that. Hearing a couple of things in the next couple of days. Mm. I don't think that ooh, I don't think that Prince Philip is doing too well. We may hear news that might not be very pleasant to hear. So let's see what's going on here. I'm not going to translate that. It's too cold for this. It's too cold for this reading after what I just said. Okay. It's okay. You know everything. It's just a comment from the universe, and we don't need to say that here. It's a little bit too much. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for the likes. Thank you for the subscribes. And feel free to visit the channel over the next couple of days to see some more readings on Harry and Meghan. All right, guys. So I will see you. Have a wonderful evening, morning, noon, wherever you are in the world, checking out right now. And let's wish those two well. That was very hard for them to come forward, but they have a lot to think of. They've got a lot to really think of. They've got to be safe in every moment. They've got to put forth a lot of money for security. Things could be unsafe, but I think personally this interview actually helped abate some of that. And now it's like the palace overall will survive this, but like people are not going to be, I don't want to say storming the castle, God. Um People are not going to be upset like that, but they will be losing a lot of respect quietly, You know what I mean? So now when the royals come on, they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'll turn the channel," instead of watching it, so they kind of, like, subtly lose respect, and I think, leaving Harry out there on his own like that, um, didn't really do any justice, for the, royal family, and again, not offering security for, Harry's child, and, you know, just not a good look. Okay, my friends, so, you guys have a wonderful one. Take care, and, we shall chat. Bye-bye now.